My name's Adam Monaco and I'm the Financial Controller for High-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at High-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. High-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
On today's show, we head over to the UK and to the Oulton Park circuit in the Cheshire region for round 2 of the British Sidecar Championship. Then we wind the clock back to 2014 and to the third round of the V8 Superboats Championship from the New South Wales Tweed Coast. And later, we head back to Sydney Motorsport Park for all the major supports action from round 1 of the Swan Super Series. This is Speedweek.
The Hyundai Heavy Industries British Sidecar Championship has come an awfully long way in the last 6 years. We run regularly with British Superbike, as you probably know by now, but I wanted to give you a sense of the scale of a typical race weekend. We're here at Oulton Park for round 2 of the championship. Way over there, the competitors stay, the motorhomes, the race trucks. This is the paddock area. Swinging around over my shoulder here, you can see just how far it stretches. Down here, I call this, if you like, Millionaire's Row. The very expensive motorhomes where the exclusive British Superbike riders spend their evenings. They're all lined out there. And way back in the distance, a huge public campsite. It's Bank Holiday Monday here. Yes, it's raining, but the public are not deterred. They're here to see some of the finest sidecar racing in the country. It's round 2. The opener was at Brands Hatch. Tim Reeves and his brother Tristan lead the pack, but only by 10 points coming into this Oulton Park round. Ricky Stevens, the reigning champion, trails him, but they're on the charge. 25 riders will start the one and only race. Let's have a look at the table. And it's pretty close, isn't it? 10 points at the top. Steve Kershaw, Stuart Clark right in there ahead of Chris Walker, Ashley Hawes. The Holland Ramsey boys, they're very much in touch as well. But look at Phil Bell, Tony Belsey. McLaren Hope, Matt McLaurin's not riding this weekend, so he's going to drop back. Look at the Cup boys, Fownes and Peters. The new FIM regulations for the World Championship dictate 600cc outfits only, and Ben and Tom Birchall come here to Oulton Park after winning the first round at Le Mans, so they come here leading the World Championship on their 600, and it's fair to say, Ben, you're flying here. You're only a second off the pole position pace.
Yeah, really good. And we didn't get really a full, clear run in practice, so there's maybe a little bit more to come yet. But no, we're thrilled. We're thrilled to be in that sort of position and that sort of pace, and it's proving how good the bikes are. We're a year down the line with it, a bit further on, and yeah, it's good, real good.
Yeah, that's the whole point, Tom, isn't it? You've got a year under your belt with this 600. You bedded it in, if you like, last year. It's Yamaha powered. It's obviously very quick. While you were away at Brands Hatch, one or two of the other lads scored some points, so you're playing catch up a bit.
Yeah, but they were going really well at Brands. It were good racing and good to see, but really enjoying riding it, and we had a year on it and done all the legwork, so we're just developing it now. But with this new Yamaha, comes new challenges, and it's really great. We've got Craig Fitzpatrick helping us this weekend, and we're finding the pace with the thing. So yeah, really enjoying it.
Tell us the advantages, Ben, because you're running at big bike pace, if I can put it that way. Where do you score?
It's corner speed, and I think it's not got as much power, obviously. The top speeds show that, but because it hasn't got that power, it's able to lay it down. So corner entry, mid-corner and corner exit, we're probably quicker. Well, we must be, because we're definitely not quicker down the straights. So it's that bit where we're gaining. And it's it's really good. The chassis can handle what power it's got a lot better than it can with 1,000, and so too can the riders. You know, you're in charge of it. We're boss of the bike. Whereas with 1,000cc and 200 horsepower, sometimes it's quite easy that's in charge of you, or you're having to compromise what you want it to do around the amount of power it's got. The 600, you struggle to get wheel spin really. You know, you're asking it for drive all the time, and that's where it's gaining.
The crew chief all the way from Bologna, who's after the bike for British.
Well, since we arrived here today, the sun has come out. The track, I can tell you, it's actually sticky under my feet. But I want to look down here because this performance is nothing short of sensational. Ben and Tom Birchall on a 600 are just 1 second shy of the pole position time set by Tim and Tristan Reeves. So they've qualified that 600cc Yamaha in 5th place. The reigning champions, Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood, they're effectively on the front row, but second fastest. We're still waiting also for number 29. Look down there, KP. Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark. What a performance for them. Now, ordinarily, we would have Chris Walker lining up alongside them, but as I say, he's in pit lane, so let's go all the way to the front. These are the boys who've put it on pole position. Championship leaders, Tim and Tristan Reeves, with a 10-point lead going into this race. 12 laps, it's warm, the conditions are fantastic. The one and only race here at Oulton Park, it's going to be a cracker. 12 laps, the scheduled distance, in glorious sunshine now. It's late in the afternoon here at Oulton Park, but as you can see, lining the fence, a very enthusiastic crowd. Oulton Park has a tradition of sidecar racing, and Chris Walker, not in pit lane, forming up on the grid. He'd actually done a drive-through, and so he effectively did 2 sighting laps. So ever the enthusiastic Walker. Gary Horsepole, well, luck again, out of it. So Gary Horsepole and Jimmy Connell sidelined. They've been here for 3 days and it's all come to nothing because we only have the one race. So Gary Horsepole climbing out of the outfit. So we're 1 down. Watch the lights at the top of the screen. Out they go. Tim Reeves then from the right hand side. Through goes Andy Peach and Ken Edwards on his Suzuki. So up behind Chris Walker goes Andy Peach, number 4, into the lead. It's Tim Reeves scything through into second. Ricky Stevens, Ryan Charwood on the JG Speedfit Cool Kawasaki. Down they go, Dentons to Cascades, the left-hander. Taken in 3rd, maybe even sometimes 2nd gear, but 3rd gear out of Cascades they go, sprinting along, up through the gearbox, over the rise to Island Bend, pulling top gear here, about the only part of the circuit they are in top. They're at Island Bend now, nudging it down back to 5th. Back down the gearbox again to 3rd for the Camber Shellhorse Heaven. Look at Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes. Underneath then goes Alan Pounds, underneath Lewis Blackstock and Paddy Rosley on the short bike. They were in World Championship action when we were at Brands, so it's their first exposure to the 2017 Hyundai Heavy Industries British Sidecar Championship. Walker and Hawes then on board with Phil Bell and Tony Belsey, passing Ben and Tom Birchall on the Mitchells of Mansfield 600 Yamaha. They're fighting back though, but they're bound to be on the grass because Phil Bell got the verdict. Big bike versus small bike. You heard from Ben Birchall how quick their bike is on corner speed, but they've got to be able to use it. They did not make the best of their 5th place start, I can tell you. They were something like 8th on the first lap and they got duffed up by the 1000cc's. So Ben and Tom Birchall with a lot of work to do. Leaders, Reeves goes through, then it's Stevens, then it's Kershaw, then it's Walker, still in 5th place. It's Andy Peach and Ken Edwards, but Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey with the yellow helmets on the number 60. Hannafin Kawasaki are in 6th and really charging, but this is the battle again. Through goes Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes, using all the track and more on the exit of Old Hall Bend. Down to Denton's then, away they go to Cascade. So Walker then established now in 3rd place behind Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood, the reigning champions. Kershaw and Stuart Clark, number 29, the Scottish pairing. Brilliant performance from them at Brands, but they know they've got new talent on their hands. Oh, Andy Peach losing out to Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey. The Hannafin Kawasaki going past the somewhat aged Suzuki, I have to say, of Andy Peach and Ken Edwards. They had a couple of teething problems in practice, and I can see smoke coming from the rear tyre of that bike as he spins it up. Maybe those problems have persisted into the race. This is the battle then for third place, number 9 on the Santander Salt Kawasaki. Oh, look at that. Here's his chicane, Walker and Ashley Horse. Just look at the way the passenger moves. You can appreciate from that shot, can't you, just what it takes to passenger one of these 200 horsepower monsters over Clay Hill. Race leaders, the Reeves brothers, Tim and Tristan, Ricky Stevens, Ryan Charles. Look how close they all are. He's not getting away. I know we're only on lap 2 here, but Reeves is not getting away from these guys. They're all pretty much at same lap pace. Kershaw, number 29, hunting down again Chris Walker. Up to 5th, it's Holland. Phil Bell up to 6th. A hand in the air for Andy Peach. So my prediction has come to fruition. Peach out of the running. Ken Edwards is passenger. Hand in the air. So a mechanical issue. It has to be on lap 3 for Andy Peach. So more work to do in the workshop on that Suzuki, but what a shame for him. Peach then, for so many seasons a front runner, is having something of a difficult start to 2017. Not so Tim and Tristan Reeves though on the Carl Cox sponsored Kawasaki, the bike that they took to victory in 2015, then sold it to New Zealand to Carl Cox, went to ride it over the winter period this year, and he said, why don't you take it back and attack the British Championship with it? That's exactly what they've done. Lap record then, 141.979. It was 142.5, so he's taken 0.6 out of his own lap record. Set here in 2015 with Gregory Clues, his French passenger, who I'm going to say for the time being is retired, because I cannot believe somebody of Gregory Clues' stature will walk away from a sport that he loves so much. 5th place, Holland and Watson. 6th place, Phil Bell. Up to 7th on the road now, the Virtual Boys. And 8th on the road, John Holden and Mark Wilkes. Chris Walker, desperate to get a victory. He knows that he's done a fantastic job after his rookie season getting onto the front 3 or 4, but leading a race to the checkered flag is something of a different proposition, as he is freely admitting. This man in something of a class of his own, Tim and Tristan Reeves, number 77. A polished act, there is no doubt about it, but Tim will be the first to admit that all the others are getting quicker all the time. Number 44, Gary Bryan and Ben McBride in a scrap with Alan Founts and Tom Peters on the Brian Gray 600cc Yamaha. And to back up Ben Birchall's words, the 600s are every bit as quick round here. Pete Founds, number 72, the older brother of Alan Founds on the short bike. Pete Founds, passengered by Jevon Walmsley. He's having a good, strong ride in this race. Phil Bell, Tony Belsey on the ex-Sean Hegarty Suzuki, and a spinner. That looked like, it's Ben Holland. Ben Holland, Stuart Ramsey out of it. They didn't want that at the Shell Oil's hairpin, but they're back on the grass and they're going. Have they, though, done any damage? A bit of a wave, look over the shoulder. Well, not sure what that means, but they're on track. A mountain to climb, but is there a chance? Reeves now stretching that advantage. You can see it's almost half the start-finish straight, but Stevens and Charwood still very much in touch. It's damage limitation. Look at Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes. This battle between them and Steve Kershaw, Stuart Clark on the Blink Bonnie Express Tyres Kawasaki. Further down the order, Ben Holland, Stuart Ramsey ahead of Pete Founds and Jevon Walmsley on the Trussland Construction Suzuki going, oh dear me, that's Gary Bryan who's behind them, but he has a massive shunt as he has done damage to the front of Alan Founds and Tom Peters' Brian Gray Power Biking LCR, the number 8 bike. So there's been contact there. The wheel arch is collapsed a little bit on the front of it, but who's that out of the running? That looks like John Holden. It is John Holden and Mark Wilkes parking it up. Both the boys fit. That's obviously a mechanical issue. Mark Wilkes and John Holden devastated, of course, after a World Championship ride at Le Mans. They came here with World Championship points. In the pits now, Ben Holland. So whatever it was happened to him at Shell Oil's hairpin, there's some damage there. His race is over, and parked behind him, Rupert Archer and Steve Thomas, who've been plagued with, there is Steve Thomas walking, plagued with electrical problems all weekend. So the Hannafin team leave Oulton Park empty-handed. Not so Kershaw Racing. They are on the hunt of Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes, and it's fair to say that Chris Walker in his second sidecar season has got his hands full with these Flying Scotsmen, that's for sure, just as he did at Brands Hatch. They are having a stellar start to the 2017 campaign, these boys. 29 then, Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark, who jumped in for this year, having ridden previously at pretty much local events, not really national status passenger, Stuart Clark, but what a fantastic job he has done and is doing, it's fair to say. So he's really stepped up to the plate. Ashley Hawes using all of his World Championship expertise to good effect. Just watch the passenger again as the sidecar wheel just paws the air coming up to the Shellor's hairpin. Back to third gear for this one. Round they go, the banking helping to keep them tight. So they're certainly not going to slide off the apex there, that's for sure. Down towards Britain chicane. But meanwhile, the Pete Founds, Gary Bryan battle going on. Alan Founds going through underneath. So the Founds brothers now line astern. Pete Founds leading, Alan Founds number 8 in second, Gary Bryan and Ben McBride relegated one place on lap 7 of 12. So only just over half distance here at Oulton Park in the sunshine, as Kershaw is as close now as he has been for a while on the back of Chris Walker. Is he going to find a way through? 1000cc Kawasaki plays 1000cc Kawasaki. Big Bob, the slogan on the front of Kershaw's bike. His brother Bob very much in the paddock here. Through go Phil Bell and Tony Belsey for what looks to me like a retirement. Oh, Tony Belsey going across to see what the issue is with Phil, indicating that it could be something to do with his right wrist. That's the sort of message I was getting from the body language. Whether he's sprained it, twisted it, or it's an old injury has reared its head, we have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. Chris Walker, then Ashley Hawes, still keeping their noses clean and keeping tidy ahead of the Kershaw-Clark pairing. Here they go again, up towards the Shell Oils hairpin. They're at Island Bend now, this very fast 5th gear left-hander. Let's look at Kershaw's line into the hairpin. Is he going to try and stay tight? He's certainly staying tighter than Chris Walker did, who went in there, just lost the back a little bit. But what a job Chris Walker does on this thing. Down they go towards the Britain's chicane. The left-right flick, kicking the sidecar wheel up. No need for the passenger to work that. Got to stay. Oh, Kershaw's alongside. Over hilltop. Neck and neck they go. Who's got the verdict as they go down to his? Well, I'm denied that because Phil Bell has now got Pete Founds, number 72, on the Suzuki, with Jevon Walmsley climbing all over the sidecar wheel arch and the rear wheel to get the grip down. Phil Bell with the fire-breathing Suzuki rounding Cascades up towards Island Bend, at the Shell Oils hairpin. Round they go, and Alan Founds, Tom Peters, number 8 on the 600cc. Likewise, their brother, 72, on the 600 Suzuki, are now right. Well, they're past Phil Bell. The short chassis, again, a flick of the sidecar wheel. The Founds boys then with Bell, the filling in the sandwich here, number 18. But Phil Bell, it's so good to see him back. I said it in the Brands Hatch round, and I'll say it again here at Oulton Park. A brilliant, brilliant competitor. The Founds boys then are now line astern because Bell has got back behind them. He's now got Gary Bryan, number 44, and Ben McBride. But we know that Phil Bell is riding with something of a handicap. It looks to me as though Tony Belsey has an injury to his wrist, and that certainly is not what you want round here. Gary Bryan, 44 then on the Santander Salt Kawasaki. Is he going to fight? Oh yeah, the answer's there. Phil Bell easing the pace. He's going to have to ease the pace if he's got a crocked passenger. Dean Nichols, number 11, and Kenny Cole on the 1000cc Kawasaki taking the scenic route through the chicane. Well aware that the fast men are coming past. Phil Bell into pit lane, so he and Tony Belsey are retiring the Marin Motorsports ex-Sean Hegarty Suzuki. Oh, Chris Walker, Ashley Hawes, sensationally out of it, onto the grass. A shake of the head from Ashley Hawes. Oh, and is the passenger rolling around? Somebody else is on the grass. Has there been a coming together? That looks to me like Brian Gray's passenger, Sam Nicholas. Here is Brian Gray, number 7, under the bridge. It's about 130 miles an hour, and the passenger comes out the back, over and over and over down the tarmac. Mercifully, no outfits in close company. Race leader Tim Reeves comes round and a red flag is out, so we have a premature stoppage to the race, but Nicholas climbs over the barrier and collapses on the grass, relieved as much as anything, I would suspect. But that's it then. A result declared for Tim and Tristan Reeves on the Carl Cox Motorsport Kawasaki. Victory number 3. So they will march on to 75 points. Stevens and Charwood, very much closer this time. Not even 4 seconds adrift. Kershaw and Clark claim that third with Chris Walker's retirement. The Birchells, look at that. And the Cup boys all together. So Alan Fownes and Tom Peters did everything they had to do to keep the Birchall boys at bay. Brilliant, brilliant race. Scott Parnell and Mick Fairhurst there in 14th. Well done, lads. Philippe Galland from France and his Belgian passenger, Flavien Berton. 600 Cup winners. I mean, no surprise except that you got boxed in a bit at the start. You didn't get away like you thought. You needed to in actual fact, but still a good result. You brought it home.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a bit of one of them. If we can get away sharpish and pull the lap times, we can probably hang about and stay with them. But it was all right. It was good battle. We wore them down a bit and got through. And yeah, great race and good to be at BSB. Good for our sponsors and everyone that supports us, and a good organised event. Thanks very much.
The Fownes boys stayed in touch behind. Of course, they did everything they needed to do as well. Tom.
Yeah, everybody's picked the pace up. It's good to see because it's just going to make good racing throughout the year, so we're really happy to finish it on top of step today. But yeah, great event and great to be back at BSB.
I seem to be talking to you two a lot, but I never tire of it. Well done again. What happened to Chris Walker? Was it a mechanical problem?
I'm not sure, to be honest. We actually passed him as a racing pass. He made a little mistake in the first chicane and we got the drive and passed him. I didn't actually know he had stopped. I thought he was still behind me until the red flag. So no, I don't know, but great race with him. It was great to be racing with him.
Were you happy with that? I mean, okay, you were second, but are you happy with the race?
Yeah, I think as soon as we kind of put pressure on Tim by the seams of it and we get down that record pace, he then takes another notch and does it a little bit further. So full credit to him. Him and Trish, had a game plan. They went from start, and our weakness is the first lap, where we take a lap or so to get going. I'll be honest, I wanted to go full distance.
Can I be blunt?
Yeah.
Your weakness is your start, in my opinion.
Absolutely, this is what we've got to work on now. I mean, it's always going to get laps and getting lap times in, but we need to go and work on the first lap, cold tyres. That's where Tim's awesome. He's off the line, he's gone. And then we can't afford to give him 2 seconds. That's what we gave him, that 2 seconds on the first lap. We know where we're wrong. We need to work on that. Hopefully, the next couple of rounds we can build on it. But it's tough, very tough.
3 out of 3. Not a bad day at the office. Well done, Tim and Tristan. Good win, but 4 seconds, that's good enough.
Yeah, it was good. Ricky upped his game, didn't he, from Brands, and put us under a bit more pressure at the start. And we, I had to put a few special laps together to gap him. It was good, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, this place is really hard work. And to be fair, we didn't have much practice time due to an issue we had with the throttle bodies. And it all come together good. We found a real good. We took a gamble on a setting overnight, and we couldn't test it in the warm up because of the damp conditions. But it's paid off in the race. It was good to do a 41.9. I'm over the moon. It's a difficult track, and we found a bit more time. So yeah, chuffed to bits.
New lap record, so you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, really good. I said to Tim before the race, because it's hard here, and like you said, it's all right at Brands, it's local, and it's a lot easier than here. So I said to him, just try from the start, if we can get a bit of a gap, and then maybe if we can do that, then we can afford to take it a bit more easy, try and save my arms a bit. But no, it was good, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, with 2 rounds under our belts, 15 points, that's brilliant. Don't forget, we have double points at the finale at the end of the season, so this is wide open all year. Kershaw, Brian, Walker there in 5th. That would have been a different story had he not actually run out of petrol, because that's what it was, believe it or not. Fownes and Peters still top the cup. We waited a long time this weekend for that race, but it was certainly worth the wait. What a cracker. You'll see us next with 3 races north of the border, home ground for the Kershaw boys at Knock Hill. I can't wait. The TT's in between, but we're not involved in that. Join us at Knock Hill. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Stay with us, because after the break we relive all the action from round 3 of the 2014 V8 Superboats Championship from the Tweed Coast of New South Wales.